Peggy 12.
Hi, I'm Abe from Calypso Media, and today I'm going to be giving you a brief look at the current alpha version of Port Royale 4. When you first start the game, you'll be able to choose from one of many mini tutorials to get familiar with the basics. In Port Royale 4, there are, quite aptly, 4 different campaigns to choose from. In free game mode, you can set up the game according to your own personal preferences, each one revolving around the actions and legacy of a different nation. In terms of the 4 nations, each has certain advantages and offers 2 unique ship types to choose from. The nation of England, for example, has a big advantage in warship construction. France has advantages in city building. Spain is the quickest to grow and populate. And the Netherlands' advantages revolve around trade and production. Next, we choose our character. Each character has 2 positive and 1 negative aspect to them, which we call a perk. For example, the adventurer can rebuild all of the ships they encounter in battle, while the trader can trade even with cities at war with his or her own nation. Once we've chosen our character, now we can adjust the settings for our game. For example, we can tweak how nations are spread out across the world and decide on our hometown. The difficulty level in Port Royale 4 ranges from normal to hardcore. In hardcore mode, your enemies will be tougher and many of the automatic functions are instead manually controlled by the player. This is the game world. In contrast to Port Royale 3, the whole Caribbean is now rendered in crystal clear 3D. I'll activate a cheat now so we can see the world a little bit better. Port Royale 4 offers a mixture of trade, economy and city building, but we also have politics and naval battles to dabble in as well. In-game, the entire economic system is fully simulated. The convoys we see here are mostly merchants, transporting goods between the cities. But there are also military convoys, treasure fleets, buccaneers and pirates, so best to keep your eyes peeled. When you begin a campaign in Port Royale 4, you're placed in the shoes of a governor of a small town. From here, your goal is to expand and build as powerful an empire as you see fit. Of course, your empire doesn't stop with just one city. You can set up production lines in many other of your nation's settlements, and even take over the administration of these settlements, as long as you have a good enough reputation with your nation and viceroy, of course. Reputation is like a second currency in Port Royale 4. Simply put, you gain reputation by doing good things for your nation, and lose reputation by doing bad things, such as piracy against them. When constructing buildings, it is important to keep in mind that this too is systemic, so all buildings have influence on one another, either positive or negative. Additionally, since each city can produce different goods due to its geographical placement, you will need to think carefully about what you want to produce in each city, and how to most effectively build your production chains. Just like real life, every city is different and should be optimized in a different way. With trade convoys, of course you can trade between your own settlements, but it's better business to establish trade routes. To set up a trade route, you can select those settlements you'd like to involve in the route using the navigational map. This map shows strong tidal currents and winds, but also areas with shallow water, and those with storm warnings. Enemy areas and those pieces of the world rife with pirate attacks are also shown here. To best optimize your trade routes, you'll want to adjust these so to make better use of wind or avoid potentially hazardous areas. Now it's time to decide which actions a convoy should perform. The easiest way to do this is to let things play out automatically, but if you'd prefer to set everything in motion yourself, you can do that too. It's also worth noting that in the hardcore mode, the game's automatic functions do not exist and will have to be put into play manually. Once you've finished setting up a trade route, you can transfer it to any convoy. If you choose to optimise it later, the change will be applied across the board to save you time. Now we are going to take a look at one of the more action-packed parts of Port Royale 4, the naval combat. Alongside trading, producing goods and expanding your settlements, Port Royale 4 also includes a variety of missions and side quests to tackle. Using a letter of marque, you can take part in wars, raid fellow traders, or even annex entire cities. If you're feeling particularly vindictive, you can also go on pirate hunts. But before a convoy can take on another, it needs a captain. Captains are rare but vastly improved convoys. Each captain has an experience level and brings with them different skills which you can improve over time. Above all though, a captain has command points, which is what you will need to add battleships to your fleet. Up to 8 small ships or 4 battleships can be a part of your convoy at any one time. As with trade routes, if a naval battle ensues, you can decide to auto-complete the battle or engage in the combat manually. If you choose to manually engage, the game enters a turn-based battle mode. As this is an alpha build, we're still working on the visual quality of the naval battles, so the final version will look a lot better. During naval combat, each ship has movement and manoeuvring points that decrease when a ship is moving and turning. In terms of armament and artillery, each ship has solid cannons that can be used against the hull of an opposing vessel and scatter cannons that can be used against the crew. If you're feeling particularly brave, you can also try to hijack other ships and turn them against the enemy. Each ship type comes with a special tactic that can be used in the heat of combat. These tactics are on a cooldown and will disappear after they are used. More tactics can be earned by completing more missions. If the battle is going well, the autocomplete option is always open. Selecting this option will allow you to see the outcome of the battle from its current point. If you like the outcome, you can accept it and complete the battle. If not, you can continue fighting until the combat plays out manually or the odds turn in your favour. Thank you for taking the short tour of Port Royale 4 with us. Please note that this is an alpha version, and we will spend many more months fine-tuning and balancing the game until its official release in Q4 of 2020. Until then, happy sailing.